Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. My name is Muhammad Wajid, remote job wala. I am a student at Rihan AI Teacher Training Institute. I am doing AI Teacher Training course. Today I will review a TEDx talk. So without further delay, let's get started. Today I want to share something that is not just a talk, not just an idea, but something that touches the deepest part of what it means to be human. The TEDx talk we are reflecting on is by Brené Brown, titled "The Power of Vulnerability." Now, at first, the word vulnerability might make us uncomfortable. Many of us think of it as weakness, as something we should hide. We are taught to be strong, to be perfect, to not show our struggles. But what if everything we believe about vulnerability is actually wrong? Barnai Brown began her talk is in a very honest and even humorous way. She introduces herself as a researcher, someone who likes control, data, and clear answers. She calls herself a story collector, but then she admits something unexpected. When she started studying human emotions like connection, love, and belonging, she found herself in a place she could not control. And that is where the journey begins. As the talk unfolds, Bernie Brown introduced one of the most powerful ideas. Every human being wants to feel loved, we want to belong, we want to feel that we matter. But the question is, what stops us from experiencing that connection fully? The answers she discovered in her research in simple yet deep. It is shame and fear. She explains that many people walk around with a silent belief: I'm not enough, not good enough, not smart enough, not attractive enough, not successful enough. And because of this belief, we start building walls. We protect ourselves. We avoid situations where we might fail or be judged. We hide parts of ourselves. We try to look perfect on the outside, even when we are struggling on the inside. But here is where her research takes a powerful turn. She discovered a group of people who live differently. She calls them wholehearted people. These individuals are not perfect. They struggle just like everyone else, but they have one important difference. They believe they are worthy of love and belonging. And because they believe this, they live differently. They embrace their imperfections instead of hiding them. They are willing to be seen even when it feels risky. They choose courage over comfort. They allow themselves to be vulnerable. Now, this idea of vulnerability becomes the heart of the talk. Bernie Brown explains that vulnerability is not weakness. In fact, it is the birthplace of everything meaningful in life: love, creativity, joy, and connection. Think about it. Every time you say, I love you, first, that is vulnerability. Every time you try something new and risk failure, That is vulnerability. Every time you open your heart to someone, not knowing how they feel, respond, that is vulnerability. And yet, we spend so much of our lives trying to avoid it. One of the most powerful parts of the talk is when she explains how we deal with discomfort. When we feel emotions like fear, sadness, rejection, or uncertainty, we don't like it. So, what do? We try to escape, we numb those feelings. Some people numb through distractions, some through overworking, some through social media, some through pretending everything is fine. But here is the truth she shares: you cannot selectively numb emotions. When you numb pain, you also numb joy. When you block fear, you also block love. So, in trying to protect ourselves, we actually disconnect ourselves from the very things that make life beautiful. Another deep insight she shares is about perfectionism. Many people believe that if they become perfect, they will avoid criticism. They think perfection will protect them from pain. But Brené Brown explains that perfectionism is not about self improvement, it is about fear. It is the fear of being judged, the fear of not being enough. And instead of protecting us, perfectionism creates distance between us and others. Because when we try to appear perfect, we stop being real. And without authenticity, there can be no true connection. She also talks about our need for control. We try to control everything: our image, our outcomes, our future. But life is uncertain. And the more we try to control it, the more anxious we become. Instead, she suggests something very simple yet very difficult: let yourself be seen. What makes this talk even more powerful is that Bernie Brown doesn't just share research; she shares her own story. Own story. She talks about how his research changed her life, how she went through her own emotional struggle, a breakdown, a spiritual awakening, awakening, as she humorously calls it. She realized that even though she was studying vulnerability, she was not living it. And that's something many of us can relate to. We often know what is right, but we struggle to practice it. Our honesty makes the talk feel real. It reminds us that growth is not easy, change is uncomfortable, but it is possible. If we bring everything together, the biggest lesson from this talk is vulnerability is the key to a meaningful life. It is not something to avoid, it is something to embrace. This means accepting that you are not perfect, having the courage to be yourself, taking emotional risks, believing that you are enough. Because at the end of the day, the goal is not to be perfect, the goal is to be authentic, connected, and alive. As we come to the end of this powerful TEDx talk, I want to believe you. I want to leave you with a simple but deep question. We would, we would your life look like if you stopped hiding? What would happen if you allowed yourself to be seen? Not as perfect, but as real. Because maybe, just maybe, uh, the thing you are most afraid of, being vulnerable, is actually the doorway to your greatest strength. So go out there, take the risk, speak your truth, open your heart, because in the end, it is not perfection that connects us, it is our humanity. Thank you so much for listening. Okay, guys, don't forget to share, like, and follow.